Okay, now listen up. Today it's history class, so no talking at the back, sit up straight and pay attention. Now, the history of the 20th century was preserved quite unlike any other before it, obviously because of the development of moving pictures and recorded sound. Now, it just so happens that as those two media were coming to prominence at the beginning of the 20th century, so the late 19 teens, early 1920s, that coincided with the birth of jazz and, of course, the birth of the drum set. Remember, if it wasn't for what the jazz musicians were doing at the beginning of the early 20th century, the whole idea of this ensemble of percussion instruments being played by one individual might never have happened. If it wasn't for jazz drummers and jazz music, the whole role of percussion in popular music might be completely different from how we know it today. I mean, we might all be sitting on top of wooden boxes and slapping them with our bare hands. How about that? Anyway, what I'm here to tell you today is if you don't know about the history, about the pioneering players, then you're missing out on a huge amount. There's a great box set, I've got it here, called The Engine Room, and it's 4 CDs, and it covers right going back to Baby Dodds and Zooty Singleton. It's everything from like the original Dixieland Jazz Band right up to Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie. So like the first 3 decades of the innovation of the drum set, all in one box set. And every time you listen to a new drummer, a drummer whose work you didn't know before, then you're adding to your range as a player. Don't get me wrong, I am as influenced by modern players, guys like Chris Dave and Nate Smith are 2 who I particularly admire, but I want to be influenced by the entire century of recorded music. Here's a great book called Drumming Men, written a few years ago by Bert Corral. Read about the guys in their own words, in the words of the musicians who were their friends and collaborators at the time. It really brings the whole era to light. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you should suddenly buy a vintage drum set, put calf heads on it, start wearing round glasses and not listen to any music recorded after 1960. No, 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 no. You've got a whole century from which to draw your influences. And as I say, the more you listen to, the more players, the more music you check out, the broader your range as a player is going to be. And the more interesting you are going to be to potential musical collaborators. So stop what you're doing, go and check out a new drummer today.